Hello everyone. If you're watching this, we're going to assume that you have already tried the practice problem for earnings per share for company C, and that you're ready to check and see if you did it correctly. It's 2021. We start with 630,000 shares outstanding from the prior year. All right, there were just one transaction that affected. We always do the basic earnings per share first, and on the basic earnings per share, there's only one transaction, a repurchase of shares for the Treasury, and that happened after 8 months or on September 1st. So 630,000 shares outstanding for 8/12, January through the end of August, and then 590 goes down by 40 for the rest of the year, for the rest of the 4 months, making sure that we have 12/12. Multiply, we get 420 and 196, add them together, all right, sum it up, however you want to refer to it, and our earnings, our weighted average shares outstanding for basic earnings per share is 616,667, okay. Our net income is $3.4 million. We have $600,000 in preferred dividends that need to come off there because that is the situation. And we divide that by the 616 and we get $4.54. Now that we have basic, we can turn to our fully diluted, always doing our options first. So we have 80,000 options that are redeemable or exercisable at $15 a share, right? So if everybody exercised their options, we'd receive 80,000 times 15 or $1.2 million in cash. The average price was for the year was 22, so that would mean with that $1.2 million we could buy back 54,545 shares. Obviously one option per share, so there would have been 80,000 new shares. So the difference, or the net change in shares, goes up by 80,000, down by 54,545. So the change to the denominator is 25,455. Now you can kind of go on and do the rest of it, but I usually make a kind of interim calculation and calculate the net income minus the preferred dividends, and then add in the 25,000 to the 616 that we got earlier to just see where we are. So we're at EPS went down to 4.36, which should always happen when we're considering the diluted shares. If it goes up, we might have done something wrong, or we could have a situation where it doesn't dilute our earnings per share. Convertible preferred, then we consider that. Now that we're done with the options, we look at the convertible preferred. Now, if we pretend that the preferred stock has all been converted into common shares, then that means that we would not pay dividends of $600,000. So if that's been converted, we would avoid paying the dividends of $600,000. So instead of taking $3.4 million minus $600,000, we're going to just take $3.4 million, right? I mean, if you want to think about it, you can say you subtract the $600,000 and add the $600,000 back, if you'd like to think of it that way. But you get the same result. And then that would result in $500,000, because each share of preferred stock can be turned into 5 shares of common stock, 500,000 new shares if converted. So we're going to add that to the denominator, the bottom number of our. So our formula ends up being 3.4 million divided by the 616 plus the 25,455 plus the 500,000. And you see that it drops substantially. That's kind of exaggerated is what you would find in real life. You almost never see that kind of drop in dilution because of dilution, but we made it nice and obvious there. So it's down to $2.98 fully diluted earnings per share. Now, moving on to the next year, 2022, of course, we leave off with 590. That's what we ended up. We don't use the 616, of course, because that's an average, the 590. And then in this year, we have a couple of transactions, both of which involve selling more shares. The first one as a result of some exercise of options happening in February, or February 1st, I should say. And the other one is just a sale of treasury stock later in the year, actually December 1st. So we have 590,000, all right, that are outstanding at the beginning for January. And then we have the 10,000 stock options making our shares go up by 10,000. And that's the case for 10 months, right? From February 1 all the way to December 1. And then we sell an additional 5,000 shares. So we're up to 605 for the last month. Multiply all those by the time period, add it up, and we get 599,583 as the number of shares outstanding, weighted average shares outstanding for basic. And so our net income, $4.4 million. We subtract the 600,000 preferred dividends again, all right, and we divide it by the 599,583. Now, so in the options, first of all, because some of the options are exercised, we don't have all 80,000 for the whole year. We have 80,000 for 1/12 of the year, and we have 70,000 options for 11/12. So the number of options we need to deal with is 80 times 1/12, 70 times 11/12, added together, 70,833. And so the exercise price stays the same. It's still the 70,833 times 15. We have a new average though for the year, and so we take that cash of just over $1 million. We divide it by the 27, and we get the number of shares we can repurchase with that cash. We're going to issue just under 71,000 new shares. So the actual change in shares because of the options could be the maximum is 31,481. So we're going to add that to the 599 and take I'd say a interim calculation here to make sure we're going in the right direction. We see our earnings per share drop. That's what we would expect as we add those together on the bottom of the equation. Just like before, because there was no change in the convertible preferred, we have $600,000 dividends not paid. Again, you can subtract and add or just ignore it. And then the number of shares added to the denominator is 500,000, just like it was in the first year. So our new earnings per share is 4.4 million. Ignore the 600,000. Add the 599, 31, 481, and the 500,000, and it drops all the way down to $3.89 as our fully diluted earnings per share.